Hello YouTubers, this is MusicsWhore here, and today is my number 49 in my top 50 albums of all time. Today I'm going to be talking about Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. Now for this, I'm going to say it straight right off the bat. These albums were released simultaneously. That's why I'm reviewing them as sort of a double album, because I've never thought of them as anything different. Now before we get into the thing, be sure down below, like, subscribe, comment as you wish on it. Now, this album was produced by Mike Klink and Guns N' Roses on Geffen Records in 1991. Now, before I get into this, Axl said in an interview before the release of this album that he wanted to bury the Appetite for Destruction in that sound. Is that a good thing or was that a bad thing? I'm still because I think a lot of people wanted a follow-up to Appetite for Destruction. 30 songs off this record, off these two albums, and I'll name off Right Next Door to Hell, Dust and Bones, Live and Let Die, Don't Cry Original, Perfect Crime, You Ain't the First, Bad Obsession, Back Off Bitch, Double Talk and Jive, November Rain, The Garden, Garden of Eden, Don't Damn Me, Bad Apples, Dead Horse, Coma, Civil War, 14 Years, Yesterdays, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Get in the Ring, Shotgun Blues, Breakdown, Pretty Tied Up, Locomotive, So Fine, Estranged, You Could Be Mine, Don't Cry, Alternate Lyrics, and My World. Now, first criteria I'm going to talk about. How did I feel after listening to this record? And I'll tell you right now, I felt pretty damn pissed off after listening to this record. My first list I had this album at number 28. And then I went back and listened to every album that I put on this list. And this album is one of the few albums that I listened to, and after the last song, I'm so pissed off after listening to it that it just infuriates me that some bands would do some of this stuff. But let's go to disc 1 now and find the signature songs. There's 2 discs on this, so I'm going to do disc 1 having Best Song and Hidden Gem on it. Best song off this album, Coma. Hidden gem off this album is The Garden. Hands down. You could make a thing for Don't Cry or maybe even November Rain or Back Off Bitch, but for me, The Garden is a hidden gem off this album. And November Rain I'll get into later with some other songs. Disc 2, I guess you could say Use Your Illusions 2, best song off of it, Civil War. With that and its opening part with Cool Hand Luke. Next best song off it, in my opinion, Breakdown. With the Vanishing Point ending to it, I loved it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the movie Vanishing Point and listen to that last part of the album, because that's where they get it from. Locomotive, and that you could make a case, but I always felt like on this album, now I'm going to talk about production. It's very well produced. Now, is it the best production? Probably, but I think it's overproduced. I really do think that this album's overproduced. And like this is actually going to be my main thing about this. Influence. I don't think time has been very fucking good to this record at all. You compare this to Appetite for Destruction or even Lies. I'll take Lies over this any day of the week. Some might say, wow, that's a pretty bold statement, but after listening to it, for as much good as you get on these albums, you get a fucking shitload of crap. I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm not lying to you. There is a ton of shit on these albums. I'll just tell you exactly right now. I'm not a fan of Live and Let Die. I preferred Paul McCartney's version more. That's just my opinion. These are my opinions, so if you don't like it, too bad. Perfect Crime, You Ain't the First, Double Talk and Jive, The Garden of Eden, Don't Damn Me, Bad Apples, Dead Horse, Get in the Ring, Shotgun Blues, Pretty Tied Up, So Fine, in My World. I could not stand So Fine just because it sounded so much like Knocking on Heaven's Door. That's the only thing. As I said, there's a lot of shit now with Locomotive, Estranged, and November Rain. I think maybe not November Rain, but especially Locomotive and Estranged. The songs are over. They're about 2 minutes too long, or Axel's voice could have been kept out of the love so strange and just had that music. Ending music be that musical part there. The musicianship on this album's good. I just think the vocals brought the album down. For as much as people love Axl Rose's vocals, I don't think they were that great on these albums. There's some songs where they're just phenomenal, but there's some like I just didn't care for. Influence, as I said, isn't the best. When you're comparing this double album to other double albums, and I'll go through a quick list. Is it as good as Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan? I don't think so. Is it as good as Zappa's Freak Out? No. Is it as good as Jimi Hendrix's Electric Ladyland? Oh, fuck no. Is it as good as the White Album? They said it themselves that it's not even as good as the White Album. Is it as good as The Wall? Maybe on par, a little bit lower than The Wall. Is it as good as News in the New World by Queen? No. Is it as good as Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti? No. So there's already like a few albums you can already say is better than these for double albums. And now let's get to some other stuff, like the feeling you get. As I said, I wanted to bam punch a wall, especially after fucking listening to My World. Whoever's idea to end this album with My World should be fucking shot. It should have ended either Don't Cry, or you could have taken Coma from disc 1, put it on disc 2, and it would have been fine. Or even better yet, should have just been one fucking album. That's what it really should have been. I think they stretched out. I don't know if Guns N' Roses was trying to fill up their Geffen contract or whatever and just finish it, but this was a mistake. Pretty big one by Guns N' Roses. I don't think some of these songs lived up. There was some great songs, don't get me wrong. I used to really like this album, but the more and more I listen to it, I'm just like, If you would have asked me probably 3-4 years ago about this album, I probably would have said it was a top 20 album. Now I'm not too sure. Once I got into more older music, more newer stuff, there's a lot of albums I like more than this now. So yeah, this is my thoughts and opinions on number 49 of my top 50 albums of all time. Sorry about if I'm rambling on. Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. Should have the next one I'm probably going to do pretty quickly here. Get that one out of the way as well. Be sure to look out for number 48 on this list. This is MusicsWhore. Peace.